What's up, everyone? Thanks for listening to the Whatcast. Mike, we're going to talk about some aliens tonight. Aliens.
We don't talk about aliens on this show. That's weird.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if aliens is the right word. I mean, I take them as aliens, but I got to ask you, what's your thoughts when you hear reports of robotic aliens?
Ooh, like, what do you mean? Like R2-D2 or like a weird, like, humanoid cyborg thing, like from Scooby-Doo?
Straight up robots.
Straight up robots.
Yeah.
Like fucking, like the toys in the 80s. Just fucking robots. I mean, I don't know. Why not? Let's have sentient robots. Wait, are they sentient or are they like drones? Either way, I'm in. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Give me the fucking robots.
I find the robots interesting as well. And that's, I mean, like drones, we've talked about that before. Alien constructs, you know, we've talked about them using them as drones, droids, or even in cases like Whitley Strieber's case, even it's some type of exoskeleton. But the first thing that comes to my mind, like we even see a little bit of this in cryptids and stuff that we know about, like in Flatwoods, on account of the second sighting with the reptoid, with the same mechanical lower half, but he had just seemed to have like shed his upper garments.
Ooh, he's a naked robot.
But again, that one's half lizard and stuff like that. But I mean,
or is it? Maybe it's a robot lizard.
Yeah, maybe it's just skin over a cyborg.
I've seen Power Rangers, man. I know that robot lizards exist.
Yeah, but they're always a little bit weird to me. I like them, but it's so weird to hear about just a robot. Like even with the Babendum guy, I don't know if I couldn't just get into him all the way because I can't see what it is. I can't tell what it is. I don't know if it's a sentient floating thing. I don't know. It's a little too far out there. I don't know.
I remember reading back, this is going back probably 20 years now. When I had my first job out of college, I used to work second shift at a bank call center, and I was a fraud claim processor. So basically, people would call in if they had fraud on their card or on their account or like a double posting or whatever, and I would put it through to get investigated and get the credit back and all that shit. But I had a lot of downtime is basically the point of me telling you. And so I used to find ways to kill time, and I found these this group of websites that were all articles written by this guy named Tom Sleman. And he's written a bunch of books about like the strange and unusual and paranormal, different themes. His books follow, like one, I have one right here on my shelf called Strange But True. And it's just, you know, like weird things that happen in history that are actually true, or like weird people that have displayed like superpowers or some sort of ability beyond the normal. But he had these series of websites that were basically just kind of a vehicle for him to get these articles out there. And I remember specifically this one article that he wrote about this little girl. I can't remember the year, but it was this little girl in Britain who was at her house, and she was in her kitchen making lunch or whatever. It was in the middle of the day. And all of a sudden she sees this like humanoid robot looking through her window. And he's like looking in at her, and she was intrigued by it. So she goes outside, and this thing was like flying around her garden, like not like flying in the air, but like, you know, kind of like floating off the ground in her garden. And then it took off and left. But I remember like it was one of those things where the story had few details other than basically the fact that this little girl saw a humanoid robot thing looking at the window, and then it flew away. and she didn't see it again. But I just remember thinking of like how terrifying that would be to just be like living your life and all of a sudden you look up and there's a fucking robot looking through your window at you. Like, we don't have robots, you know, even now, 20 years later, it's not like we've got robots just kind of cruising around the neighborhood and it's like commonplace to see a robot. You know, if I saw a fucking robot looking through my window, that would terrify me.
Right. It would be just as strange as seeing an alien peer through your window.
Yeah, it might as well be the same fucking thing.
Right.
You know, we don't have robots, so what the fuck is that? You know, this isn't Star Wars. That's not C-3PO. What the fuck?
Yeah, I think I'd be like, whoa, cool, wait a minute. I think it would take me, I would be in awe before I'd be in shock. But yeah.
I think I would be scared first. Like as a kid, if I saw a robot, I'd be like, wow, a robot, awesome. And you know, now, if I saw a robot, I'd be like, holy fuck, it's a goddamn robot. Right. And I'd go barricade myself in the basement and fucking hope for the best. So what am I going to do against a robot? Whole lot of nothing, that's what. But anyway, you bring up robots. You got some robot stories?
Yeah, I came across an article that I covered a few on the Quick and the Weird, but it was a long list of aliens and creatures that some we've heard of and covered, and some that I hadn't, and they were so weird I just wanted to talk about them here. Quite a few of them were described as robot-like. And the first one I want to talk about is called the Pacincha Abductors. And this took place on September 15th in 1977 in Brazil. A young man named Antonio La Rubia, a 33-year-old bus driver, had just started his walk to work at about 3 a.m. He said shortly after he left his home, he saw what he described as, quote, an enormous wide hat. I don't know if you guys want to look up the traditional Brazilian tarp hat. But it could pass for, you know, what the shape he's describing is basically a UFO, like a flat ring around a circular top. But it was laying next to his home in a field. He said it was 235 feet in diameter, that's 70 meters. So again, it just looked like a flat top UFO, maybe not a dome top. Once you look up you can look it up, the traditional Brazilian tarp hat. But Antonio wasn't willing to fuck around and find out, so he immediately turned and started running back towards his house. But he said he was then suddenly hit with an intense bright blue light that lit up the whole area, and he was paralyzed, completely unable to move. Suddenly, he was surrounded by 3 robots, described as being 4 to 5 feet tall, covered in metallic scales, tentacle-like arms akin to elephant trunks that tapered to a point, an egg-shaped body, a head shaped like, quote, an American football with an antenna protruding from the top, a single post-like pedestal that wind out like a dish-like platform for a leg, and a belt around their waist with pouches holding what he described as syringe-like items.
So, is he like trying to extract things, maybe? Or is he trying to drug people?
Well, funny that you say that. These robots grabbed him and started dragging him towards the craft. And as they muscled him to the direction of this craft, he began to yell at them, asking them who they are and what they wanted. He said that the robots then stopped and fell over as if his voice had injured or disabled them, and they fell to the ground. But unfortunately, he was again hit with another blast of blue light, which rendered him unconscious. He awoke inside the craft with the robots projecting a series of pictures or set of clips on the wall, which consisted of an old, ran-down, dilapidated train, a UFO assembly line, a few clips of Antonio himself, unfortunately, some of him naked, and a group of robots, quote, melting a dog.
What?
Yeah.
Like a living actual dog melting it?
Yes.
Huh. I wonder if they were, like, does he describe the melting?
No, that's just the only thing I got was a melting dog.
So, do you remember when we talked about the Stardust Ranch and how the guy's Rottweiler was like, he said it looked like it was run over by a steamroller?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's that sort of thing. And there was also in this on the Skinwalker Ranch, going way back to when we covered that, Tom Gorman or Sherman, he mentioned that at one point he had 3 dogs run off into the woods after a light, and they were killed. I believe in the book it said that there was just like ashes or like a greasy substance left behind. But in talking to, in interviews with witnesses, they said again, it looked like these dogs had been pressed flat, like flattened. So I'm curious if that like melting thing is what's causing them to go flat.
Right, like a melted pile.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's rough.
Yeah.
Well, as the clips played and Antonio watched, one of the robots drew blood from his middle finger and then squirted it on the same wall where the clips were being played, and it formed the symbol consisting of 3 circles and the letter L. Now, the article has a drawing from Antonio about what these creatures look like, and I'll send that to you as well, but just imagine, I mean, we all talk about grays, we know about reptilians, Palladians, we've talked about...
Wow, this looks like almost Lovecraftian. Like it looks very close to, like if it had like fan like wings instead of tentacles, it would look like one of the Elder Things almost.
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought. I'm going to send you
That really fucking creeps me out. I don't like that.
Yeah, it's pretty disturbing. Well, what a creepy design, and he describes them as robots, but their arms are like elephant trunks. So does that mean they're fleshy? Why show him clips of him naked? How embarrassing!
Because why not? He's like, hey, look at my junk.
I wonder if it was just like him living life, like taking a shower or something like that, and they're somehow able to obtain that. I mean, doesn't that prove that they've had former contact with Antonio?
I don't know if it necessarily proves that, but maybe. Maybe they got it from somewhere else. I don't know.
They hacked his laptop. Antonio.
Yeah.
Antonio likes to film himself dancing around naked. I'm just kidding. Liable.
Yeah, you don't want to besmirch the good name of Antonio.
No, I do not.
But yeah, that's interesting. But I don't like that design. It creeps me out.
Yeah, very bizarre. The Elder Thing is exactly what I thought of when I saw it. Even the platform bottom like that. That's weird.
Yeah. Like his drawing of it, it looks a lot more like a robot, but even still, like if he's describing these arms as being like elephant trunks, it's either fleshy appendages or it's like something like Doc Ock, just like weird like metallic tentacle things.
I'm going to send you one, dude, that somebody drew on DeviantArt. I'll put another link that has another article on this case in the show notes. But if you want to talk Lovecraftian, dude, check this shit out.
Oh, man. And then there's a dude with an army of them?
Yeah, that's supposed to be a description of his case, I guess.
Wow. That first one you sent is so fucking creepy looking.
Isn't it,
Holy
dude?
shit. I would not enjoy meeting that thing.
Not at all, especially if they're taking your blood and spraying it on walls.
Ugh, no. But isn't it weird? So we've got them melting a dog, we've got them taking blood and spraying it on walls. Like, I was just joking last week when I was talking about the the ass-powered ships, but what if it really is like tissue that's... What if it's not so much as a fuel in the sense that we think of it, but like, let's say these ships are living in a way that we don't fully understand, and they need to be sustained by meat, essentially. So like they spray blood on the walls to feed it, or they take certain parts of the anatomy and feed it with that, or they melt down fucking dogs and their insides liquefy.
Oh.
And they, or cow anuses.
The prime cuts. Best part of the cow. Scrumptious.
Yep.
Alien ships love them.
Yeah, there's been plenty of talk about the idea that these things are living creatures, that the UFOs aren't the craft, the UFOs are the being. So with that in mind, what if we were to assume that maybe what we see as aliens are just kind of like projections from this thing, and that's why they're able to phase in and phase out? It's not that they've got teleportation, it's that they're a projection. They're not even real. It's just a way for the ship to interact with the other beings below until it gets them on the ship.
That's weird, dude. What if that's the case? It would be just some type of species, a creature. And it's not like you can say it's something brand new. They've been seen throughout history. It's just something
Yeah,
we've
and
never...
I mean, even the notion of these being living things isn't anything new. We've covered that in the past with what was that one documentary about the living ships the living lights?
I forget. God damn it.
We're gonna have the woman on that did the documentary on it, but I cannot remember what it was called now.
Me neither. I couldn't even look it up because it's called like Her Name's something.
Yeah, we did an episode about it. If we went back I think it was a couple of years ago. If we went back a couple of years, we'd be able to figure it out. But, I don't feel like doing that right now. So if any of you guys feel like doing it, feel free. But, it's something that there's been books about it as well. There's a book that's been out of print for a while. I've been trying to get it, but it's like over $100 for just some paperback. So, it's not really exactly worth it, but it's all about UFO sightings and providing like evidence and an argument as to whether or not they're actually living beings instead of spacecraft, which really I kind of like that idea better than them being intergalactic spacecraft. Like it makes it so much creepier.
Yeah, well, maybe we jump the gun. I mean, something flying around in the sky, the only thing we can liken it to is some type of flying craft. Maybe we're too assuming in that it is. We haven't seen too many. There's even the past 6 months or so, UFO videos are they're up. There's a lot of UFO sightings going on all over the fucking place, and some of them are like Phoenix Lights-esque. There's big UFO sightings going on all over the place.
We've talked about before how fiction kind of sets the stage, I guess, so to speak, for or maybe I shouldn't say sets the stage, but kind of acts as conditioning. So with that in mind, have you seen or do you know anything about that movie Nope?
No, you asked me that last show, and I haven't.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
God, I don't even fucking remember. That's so terrible. But that movie kind of follows with that idea. So I don't want to give any spoilers or anything, so I'm not gonna.
Oh, wow, okay.
Go too far down that rabbit hole. But it's if you're interested in that idea, I suggest seeing the movie Nope.
Cool, I will. But with all these new sightings, this constant stream of sightings of UFOs, there's no real footage of aliens or occupants, even though we've covered cases where people see occupants, even military personnel. We don't have any quote-unquote proof or evidence of that. So maybe they are just a living entity in itself. It's sentient, like it Flight of the Navigator.
Oh, yeah. God damn, what a movie.
Hell yeah, dude. A little ahead of its time.
Yeah, absolutely. That movie kicked ass. But then again, maybe it wasn't ahead of the time. Maybe it's putting that idea out there just to, where it's right in our face.
Yeah. Well, poor Antonio experienced vomiting, pains, and dizziness for days after this event. But that does bring his story to a close. These weird egg football heads. All right, the next one I love. It's a story that's called, it's a story about beings called the Georgia Stalks.
Georgia, the country or the state?
The state.
All right. Are they sentient corn stalks?
No, it gets even cooler than that, or weirder. If
no. All right. I was gonna say I'm very disappointed, but if it gets weirder, then Continue.
All right. In July of 1951, a pilot by the name of Fred Regan was flying a single-engine Cessna-type craft over Georgia when suddenly his plane was pulled upwards by what he called a mysterious force. Unable to control his plane, it was pulled upward until it collided with a previously unseen UFO. And as the plane hit the craft, Fred found himself inside the UFO, surrounded by 3 hovering metallic beings he can only describe as stalks of asparagus standing around him.
Metallic asparagus?
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yep.
This is awesome. All right.
They're about 3 feet tall, who quickly apologized for the crash, gave him a medical exam, and informed him that they had cured his cancer, which he wasn't aware that he had. He then woke up laying in the middle of a field, his plane wrecked nearby with his motor buried 10 feet deep into the ground, apparently have fallen thousands of feet from the sky. Interestingly enough, Fred died 11 months later from degenerating brain tissue, which coincidentally is a symptom of overexposure to atomic radiation.
I think we might have covered that case before.
Really?
Yeah, I think we may have.
I think
because it sounded familiar when you said he was cured of cancer, and then you talking about him getting dying of radiation later. Like that all sounds very familiar. But maybe it's a similar case. I don't know.
Right? Yeah. There's a few cases where people have claimed that aliens have cured them of disease. So who knows? But apologetic metal asparagus robots, I'm with it.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And they're friendly and apologetic too, which even better.
It demonstrates such the spectrum of the intentions of these things. I mean, like they gave him a medical exam for Christ's sakes. And then, we got the body harvesters that we fucking talked about last week.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, here, let me get that for you. Or maybe they were just testing him and they're like, oh, no, this guy's got cancer. We can't feed his asshole to the ship.
Yeah. I don't know. I just want the dossier of from the government's hidden files of just like how many species they are, what they look like, what their agenda is. I won't tell anybody. I'll keep it to myself until I die, and I'll have Mike publish it.
And then they'll silence me.
Yeah. We'll just have it like on some weird cool movie time release email thing. It'll release in 60 years. Another case that I found that was pretty cool was it's called the Vorage Giants. And this case is noted as being flipped around and mixed up a lot by the press. But the most repeated story is that on September 27th, 1989, in Russia, a group of children as well as a few adults at a local park noticed a glowing pinkish orb in the sky. The pink light grew brighter and brighter until it reached the park and revealed itself to be a red circular craft, which landed. Have you heard of? I don't remember coming across that too often. A colored UFO. I mean, they glow all sorts of colors.
Typically, it's amber lights is what's described.
Like
in the Phoenix lights, they were amber lights. In the Cash Landrum case, it was, well, they actually saw the craft, but it had orange lights and fire coming out of it. There's a lot of cases. Like most of the lights seen around Phoenix before and after the Phoenix lights were all these like amber orangey lights.
I always find the ones with the fire description is weird. That makes me kind of...
Me too.
Yeah,
think that it's not an alien, that it's something, because why the fuck would they have fire coming out of it?
Right, yeah. I mean, like, even like, I don't know, maybe again, linking it to our experience of things, but like fire on any type of aircraft is not good. And it kind of just like bypasses the thought it's a different model of UFO that does that. It just makes me think it's definitely something different than a UFO a little bit.
Sounds like something experimental to me.
Ooh, okay. I don't know. If it's on fire, though, it wouldn't, like, eventually crash, and I don't know.
Yeah, you think, well, but remember in the Cash Landrum case, the object that they saw was surrounded by helicopters.
Ah, that's right.
Yeah. So it's almost like like they were there like as a crutch or something to protect it from crashing.
Mm-hmm.
But they also experienced sickness from radiation as well. So I don't know. Maybe it's like has some sort of like atomic core or something that was emanating radiation and they got affected by it.
Right. The radiation thing's always weird too. We always hear cases where like UFO landing sites test higher for radiation, or even abductees themselves or their clothes. But I was watching Unsolved Mysteries the other day, and there's that case that we covered, the two ladies and I think it was like one of their sons in the car, and that craft.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Cash land room.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they had actually burns on their hands from touching their car doors. It was so hot. That was crazy.
Yeah, the dashboard melted a bit too.
Yeah, if you guys, I don't know if I mentioned on here before, but there's an app or like a service called Pluto, and it's basically free shows, and they do it by channel. So there's an Unsolved Mysteries channel, and they just play Unsolved Mysteries nonstop. And there's a lot of stuff that I didn't realize that we've covered that's on that show, and it's cool because you get to see those ladies interviewed on that show. There's a lot of cases that we've covered like that where like actual people get to talk. You know, it's back in the day, so they were alive then. It's pretty cool. But this red craft landed, and the witnesses state that 3 10-foot tall robotic beings exited the craft, described as wearing bronze-colored boots, metallic jumpsuits with a giant disc on their chests. Disc, I say. Dark glass dome for a head, and within that dome were 3 red lights taken to be their eyes. Now, after the event, some witnesses also stated that the giants were accompanied by small square robots with no heads, small arms and legs. One of the children, a 16-year-old boy, screamed in terror, and as soon as he did that, one of the giants paralyzed him by kind of like, I guess, staring at him, like flinching forward and looking at him. So
just with a stare,
yeah,
just froze him.
Maybe some type of beam that we can't see or something like that. But yeah, just simply by staring at him. But they said that the being suddenly then vanished for about 5 minutes, when they reappeared and instantly shot another child, and it completely disintegrated him, turned him to nothing.
So when he says nothing, is it possible that he got teleported, or did he like disintegrate, like get blasted out of existence?
Well, see, that's interesting that you asked that. The Giants roamed around the field for a while everybody just stood there in shock, re-entered their craft and flew away, and as soon as they were gone, the disintegrated child rematerialized. So that was probably an abduction, huh?
That's really weird. Yeah. That's got to be some sort of... God, what the fuck, man? That's so weird. So maybe like when he disappeared, time was like distorted, and it seemed like he had disappeared and then reappeared, but really the time that everyone was experiencing was distorted, but they were able to take this kid away and bring him back during that time distortion. So like they were able to do whatever they wanted, but to everybody else it just seemed like, a minute or two.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, like you can read up on this case on a few different places, and I was reading one article on it where they're saying that it had been jumbled around by the press a lot, but I think it marked like one of the first UFO cases to where like the government run media reported it. There was like a police chief that was nearby who said he didn't see a craft, but he saw a flying body in the sky. And after talking to the witnesses and the local residents, he took it serious enough to where if they reported it again, they were going to deploy a troop of soldiers there.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So they were really taking it seriously then.
Yeah, apparently so. I mean, there's, like I said, you could read about it a few places, but I mean, it's coming from a different country. That's kind of a secretive place that keeps their info to themselves. But if that kid rematerialized, where's the interview with that fucker?
Good point.
Yeah.
Where is that fucker?
Where's that little fucking kid? Sorry.
Give us the answers, you little fuck.
But that one's crazy. 10-foot tall robots.
Yeah, they're giant.
Zapping little kids.
Yeah. Teleporting them out of the place, doing God only knows what. They're probably cloning him. That's what they're doing. Cloning little kids.
I'm just waiting for the day we get an abduction report to where the aliens take them aboard and just beat their fucking ass. Like it just jumps them and then drops them off in the field later.
I don't know what happened. I woke up and then it just started beating me up. And then I woke up again and I was in a field and I'm all sore with black eyes and shit.
It was like a World Star video. They were beating the shit out of me.
They really worked me over.
That'd be funny. There's just this rash of what they call alien jumpings now.
Yeah. Yeah, instead of punk kids just going up and sucker punching people in the street, it's aliens abducting people just to jump them. And then they go on the galactic wide internet, whatever that is, and like all these other aliens from across the galaxy are all laughing. Look at those dumbasses getting abducted and beat up.
Aliens filming TikTok videos.
Yeah. The guy wakes up on board another, and then an alien runs up and just socks him. And then you have an alien in the background. World Star!
Holding up a weird device that's filming everything.
Yeah. Fuck those aliens. They're fucking assholes.
There's got to be asshole aliens, right? I mean, we know that there's certain species of aliens that do certain things, and most of them are good. Everything from ripping out your asshole to cloning you and shit like that. But there's got to be the ones in the...
This is a special breed of asshole. I bet their dads own a dealership.
My dad pays for my car insurance.
Yeah, fucking assholes. They're just a bunch of sumbitches, I'll tell you what. Just anal coring fucking sons of bitches. Sucker punching bastards. Hate those guys.
Well, I got one more I wanted to talk about called the Domstein Stink Blobs. Yeah.
The stink blobs. Fucking hell. I didn't think you could top fucking robot creepers, but stink blobs. All right. What's this all about?
Stig Rydberg and Hans Gustafsson were driving through a thick fog when they stopped to investigate a weird glow that was in the street, where they discovered a 12-foot long flying saucer surrounded by 4 bags of jelly that had a bluish color, and they were jumping wildly around the aircraft. And they stood there in shock until one of the beings suddenly attacked them. And they said it latched on with powerful suction and tried to abduct them and take them into the craft. He said every time they tried to push off the creature, their hands would sink back into its body.
Well, that's gross.
Yeah. Rydberg was able to escape, and he ran back to the car and began honking the horn, which caused the blobs to drop his homie and shoot back into their saucer, which immediately took off. Both the men were sick for days and could vividly remember that these blobs smell like shit.
Hence the name Stink Blob.
Yep.
Is it possible that these guys were drunk and just saw a big mound of manure or something?
Well, they described the scent as ether and burnt sausage.
Burnt sausage. Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know what to make of that one. That's not something that's typically described with the paranormal. Ether and burnt sausage.
Right.
I wonder if the ether was ozone though. Like maybe they were smelling ozone.
Right. Who knows what a running UFO smells like either, what type of exhaust it secretes.
Yeah, and I mean if it's something that eats human body parts, maybe burnt sausage isn't too far off.
Thank you for listening to the Whatcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, iTunes, and YouTube. Enjoy the podcast. Get yourself a Whatcast t-shirt or a sticker pack. Who was that dude on that one episode? Try the links in Homie's page. All this and more can be found at www.thewhatcasters.com. Thanks again for listening and have a great week.